Hey guys, and welcome back. And in this part we're going to go ahead and create this little plug here. It goes in the head, and this cable that's going to go into this piece here. So we're going to go ahead and create that as well properly, and we'll see how it's looking. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and go delete all by type history and edit delete all by type. Don't default my history, just so I got a clean scene to start working with. And first we're going to go ahead and create this plug here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this piece and then go down to modify and make live, just to make my life easier. And basically what this will do is it's going to act like a grid. So if I go ahead and drag out a cylinder in the middle about here, then as you can tell it will create it on there. So it's a very useful tool. So now that I got that, I'm going to go ahead and set a height. So I'm going to make it something like probably that big, and I'm just going to go ahead and mouse over this, press down spacebar, modify, make live, and do it again. So make not live, and then now it's not live anymore. So now we're going to go ahead and start making some extrusions and stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is add some edge loops to this. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out, or even just isolate it, and I'm going to go ahead and add some edge loops. So I'm going to go into my side view, and if I find it where it is, it's right there. I'm going to go ahead and select everything, deselect the front bit, and then go ahead and hit extrude. And I'm just going to go ahead and scale this down a tad, and then going to do the same thing with the other side. So select face, select these, deselect those, hit extrude, select my, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and undo all that because we've done it wrong, our selection. So I'm going to go ahead and select all those, deselect all of these, go into my perspective mode, hit extrude, scale, and drag out just a tad. And then we're going to go ahead and insert an edge loop, going around, not there, but here, and also one going around here. So now this will hold its shape. And then now we can go ahead and select these faces, and we're going to go ahead and start constructing our plug to make it look all nice. So I'm going to go ahead and hit extrude and scale this in, probably like this much. Hit extrude again and scale it in so it will hold that shape. Go ahead and hit extrude one more time. So I'm pressing G to do what we just done again, like so. So extrude it in again a tad, like so. Extrude again, and now we're going to start moving this out, but just a tad, so it will give us an edge loop there. So I don't have to go ahead. You don't have to do it this way. You can just make your extrusions and then insert your edge loops, but I'm kind of thinking ahead now. So I'm going to know that I'm going to need an edge loop here, so I'm only extruding it out that far, and then hit extrude again, and then now I can go ahead and drag this out. And if I just unisolate, I can go ahead and have a look how far I'm going to drag this out, and I'm going to drag it out to about this far, and then scale it in just a little bit, and go ahead and hit extrude, drag it out a bit, if it will work. And we're getting some normal issues here, I'm not quite sure why, but I'm going to go ahead and scale it again just a bit, hit extrude, and drag it out just a bit. Don't really know why we're getting that, but that should be okay hopefully. I'm going to go again and drag this out now, so we'll hold that shape. and then go ahead and extrude it again, all the way out here. This time, I think. No, actually, we're going to go ahead and scale this in. So we'll hold that corner, extrude again, scale in to about here, extrude again, scale in, extrude again, drag out, extrude again, and drag out our height, or our length, I should say. Now I'm just going to go ahead and while I still have this selected, just going to hit extrude one more time and drag it out a bit. So it will give me an edge loop there. I'm going to go ahead, extrude again, scale in a bit, hit extrude again, scale in quite a bit, and that should do it. Hit extrude again, scale in, hit extrude again, move it in a bit, so I'll get an edge loop there, and then I'm going to hit extrude one more time, drag in our actual bit that we need, and then hit extrude again, move it in, move it down, and then hit extrude one last time, scale it in, and that should hold its shape now. So I'm just going to go ahead and press move, and we get our beautiful plug that we just created. So now that I have that, I'm just making this up. So you can make yours whatever you want it to be like. I want mine to look something like this. So that's why I'm making it this way. I'm just gonna drag this in a bit more because I want this bit to be a little bit thinner. So now that we have this created, we're gonna go ahead and just extrude, extract these faces. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these and go to mesh, extract, and that will be right in here. So we're just going to go ahead, select both of these, hit Shift P to ungroup, and then go ahead and edit, delete all by type, history, and now I got rid of that node. So now I'm going to go ahead and extrude this piece and drag this out a tiny bit. Now extrude again. Trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Go ahead and drag it out that much, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit extrude, scale it in. It's really annoying me that I can't see my edges, so I'm going to go ahead and deselect, and then select this one more time, and then I'm going to have to go ahead and reselect my faces. And go ahead and hit extrude. And I'm trying to think about the shape that we are going to be using for this. I'm going to probably drag this out one more time, so extrude again, so we'll hold that shape. And then I think we're going to go ahead and extrude it again, drag it out, but also scale it down a little bit. Hit extrude, scale in. I mean, we're going to have to add edge loops to this because I can't think about 10 things at once, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and extrude it around here, so we'll give us that edge loop, and then go ahead and extrude it in a whole bunch because that's where our cable going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude it probably about here, hit extrude, scale, hit extrude, move in, hit extrude, move in more. So that's where our cable is going to come out from. And now we're just going to go ahead and add in the edge loop. So extrude, move in, extrude, scale in, and then we'll hold that shape. Okay, so this is our shape. And now if I just go ahead and isolate this and make sure that we got the edge loops. So I'm going to go ahead and add one in here because we need one there. And now I'm just going to go ahead and look around this model and make sure that we got all the edge loops that we need. And that's really annoying that it won't deselect that. So just going to go ahead into my object mode, select my insert edge loop tool, and we're going to need one in there, so we're going to have to go ahead and select those faces. So I'm just going to go into my side view, select all of these, then deselect with shift all of those, and I'm going to go ahead and hit extrude and scale in. So we'll hold that corner, and if I look around this, I will hold that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to need some edge loops in here. And I think we're also going to need one in here, and in here, and in here. And I think that might be okay now. Go ahead and hit smooth, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now if I just go ahead and smooth all of these and have a look how it's looking, that's looking good to me. And I think we might go ahead and just add some more detail to this, because I find this bit a bit too boring. So we're going to go ahead, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and insert an edge loop here and here. And I think we might need two. So we're going to go ahead and insert two. Now we're going to go ahead and select every other face. Okay, so I'll go ahead and select that and select that. Hopefully we've got equal amount, I'm hoping, and we don't. But that's fine because it's on it's the bottom two anyway, so it's okay. So now that we got those selected, we're going to go ahead and hit extrude, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try to scale these out, or maybe in, yeah, we're going to go ahead and scale them in the world mode uniformly. And I'm also going to go ahead and select it. Just scale it in uniformly like so. And now we're going to have to go ahead. Ooh, we're going to do it with extrude, so it saves us the hassle. So I'm going to undo it all the way up to here, hit extrude, select my world mode, scale in, like so, and then hit extrude again, world mode, scale in, hit extrude again, scale in, and hopefully this is going to work now. I'm going to go ahead and select our object mode and hit smooth, and we're getting some holes instead of curves, and that's because we don't have edge loops going around these. So I'm thinking about we might not bother. No, we are going to bother. Yeah, we're going to go ahead but you can make yours however you want it, so you don't have to add these in if you don't want to. I'm just adding these in because I kind of want more detail in mine, because I find it pretty boring looking from standard. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some more detail to it, and yeah, it's a little bit more hassle, more work, but at the end, once we finish our model, I'd rather have something that looks really good than something that just looks alright, and if you zoom into it then it got no detail on it. So I want to go ahead and try to make this really nice. So now that we have those, I'm going to go ahead and press move, and it's still making it into circles instead of squares like I wanted, and that's because we don't have the edge loops in here. So we're gonna have to go ahead and add them in, but that will take us a whole bunch of time. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this, and also because we added the edge loops in there, it reinforced those, so now they look weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo all of that, I think, all of the edge loops. Don't know how far did I do it. And let's have a look how. Well, I quite like, well, thinking about leaving just the holes in as they are, but it doesn't really have enough geometry in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off for now and go ahead and make sure that I do it the way I want it to look, and in the meantime you go ahead and make yours look the way you want it to look, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I'm back and I made it look something like this. At the end it took me about 10 minutes, but it looks pretty cool, so I hope yours looks pretty good too. If you wanted to copy it, copy exactly like mine, I'm just quickly going to show you the wireframe and tell you what I've done. So I just selected these two faces, and if I just isolate this, just quickly selected two faces here, three faces here, and two faces there, and then extruded them out. And then after I extruded them out, as you can tell, you got to add an edge loop on the bottom of them, around here and around this, and also on the back. So that's what you got to do, and then if you smooth it, it will smooth pretty cool. And then same with this, I selected every other face, extruded it out, scaled it in a tiny bit, and then just added an edge loop on the top and the bottom, so if you smooth it, it will turn into little cylinders and not squares. Okay, if you want it to turn out to be squares and not cylinders, you're obviously going to have to add edge loops going down this way as well. Okay, so that's all I've done, and now we're going to just quickly go ahead and add the cable that we need. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and select this piece and go ahead and unsmooth it, and then you're going to need the faces. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these faces, and again we're going to have to go ahead and extract it. So go to mesh, oh actually we're going to duplicate it, so go to edit mesh and duplicate, if I find it. Duplicate face, and it's going to be right in here. So again, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup them, and then go edit, delete all by type, history, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this node now. Ooh, not that one. This is going to be edit, delete all by type, history, and there we go. So now I got this little thing that we're going to go ahead and center the pivot on. So go to edit or modify center pivot, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag it out a tiny bit, and we're going to extrude this to be our cable. Okay, and that cable is going to go into this piece here. So I don't know how yet, but basically this cable gonna have to come around here and then join into here, and then we'll make a connection here somehow later on. We're just gonna use this as a reference for now to draw out our cable. So yeah, we're gonna go into our side view and go ahead and go to your if I find it, I'm gonna go ahead and create CV curve tool, and I'm going to go into my side view properly, and I'm going to start clicking where I want my cable. So you're going to start off here, and you're going to come around and curve around here, and I want it to have a little bend around here, and you're going to come around and join here. Okay, so that's our curve done. And I'm now going to go into my front view and find it where it is. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and go ahead and go to modify center pivot and press W on my keyboard, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this where it should be. So I'm now just going to select these two bits and hit isolate, because we're going to go ahead and make sure that this connects to the right piece, but we're not going to select that. We're going to go ahead and select that and this curve and then hit isolate. And I'm going to go ahead and go into my front view just so I can roughly see where it is, and we're going to go ahead and move it to roughly the center like so. Okay, and then if we go into our perspective mode and right click, control vertex, select that point, and then go ahead and shift select this, right click vertex, and then hold down V and drag into the middle, and not make sure you click on the middle so it moves in all directions. There we go, and now it's lined up exactly with the middle of that point. So the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make sure that this curve from our front view is going to go inside there. So I'm just going to go ahead and select these two and hit isolate, and then go into my front view. And now we're going to go ahead and move some of these control vertexes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just select these and start moving them one by one, just very gently, and then we're going to have to obviously figure out which one is our front point and which one is our back point. But I'm just going to go ahead and start moving them, and then you can go ahead and add some more detail into this cable. So obviously this one is going to go ahead, and I think I'm trying to find which one is our end one, and these ones are going to be in the front, this is on the back. So I'm now just separating it in my front view so I see what's going on. So I'm just dragging these, is obviously going to be there. So again, I'm just separating this so I see where the curve is going in the front view, okay? Like so, and this is going to be here, and this is going to be our bottom point. So now I can go ahead and move these around properly and start making sure that my curve is looking pretty good. So it's a bit tedious, but oh well. I'm going to go ahead and select try to find my endpoint, which is going to be somewhere here. Yeah, that's my last point, so I'm going to go ahead and drag that there, and then I'm going to go ahead and find my second point, which is not going to be that one, it's probably going to be this one. Yep, so that's my second point. And now we can go ahead and try to figure out which direction this is going to be coming from. Okay, so if I go ahead and unisolate for now and have a look how this is looking, this is going to come down all nicely here, and because of gravity there's going to be a little arc here, well down here. So we're going to go ahead and just do this in my perspective mode for now. I'm going to go ahead and select this control vertex and move this inside where it's going to join up. So we're going to join up somewhere there for now. We're going to adjust that later on. Control vertex, and oh well. And I'm just going to go ahead and start moving these points, making sure that I get a nice little curve going on. So again, this is tedious, but it's a really good tool to extrude along a curve, so it's very useful. So again, I'm just dragging down here, trying to figure out how this would go, and I might not even like it at the end, so I might even play around with this even more. So there we go, that's looking better. So that's looking pretty good now. I'm just going to go into my side view and start lining this up with this roughly. So this is going to come up, these bad boys are going to come up. You probably should have done this way for the first time, but oh well. So I'm just going to make sure I get a very nice curve going on, and I might have too many control points, so that might be a little bit of a mission, but it's okay. So just going to make sure I get a nice little arc going on here. So I'm not exactly lining it up with the reference, I'm just playing around with it just to get my overall shape correct. And then now again I'm just adjusting these points. So this is looking pretty good now in my side view, apart from this is not really supposed to be going up due to the fact of gravity. So I'm just going to drag it down so it curves a little bit better. Now I'm just going to go ahead and check in my front view again. So I'm going to select that and press isolate. And that don't look the best, but not the worst either. So I'm just going to go ahead and have a look, and you're probably going to go ahead and play around with this a little bit longer. Or we'll do that later, or you can do it in your spare time. I'm not really going to record this because it's probably really boring to watch and you know what we're doing already. Anyway, after you got your curve done, we're going to go ahead and select our face, okay, that one, and we're going to go ahead and hold down shift and select this curve, and then we're going to go ahead and hit extrude. Now as you can tell, it connected that face to the end point of this curve. So what we're going to have to do is come into our inputs of poly extrude face 1, and we're going to go ahead and pump up divisions, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and select divisions, and as you can tell, if I pump up the divisions to probably about 30 or so, you're going to have a nice little cable following that curve that we just made, okay? And it's looking okay. We're going to have to go ahead, well, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this properly. So it's going to look like a proper cable, and I'll see you guys in the next part.